VA Home Inspect. I've been doing home inspections for 19 years now, and it's an important part, obviously an important part of the process. So we're here to talk about the home inspections. Does anybody have questions off the top? Okay, so let me direct you. I'm going to also go on to my website here where we can reference back later. So vahomeinspect.com. And looks like we're not connecting to the internet. Okay, so let's just stay here. Okay, so the importance of a home inspection is pretty important, right? There could be things that are covered up, things that they're trying to hide from you. You see new paint, new carpet, and it looks pretty good, but behind the walls there's ducts, there's pipes, there's supply pipes, drainage pipes, building material, all sorts of things that could be hazardous and be liabilities. So and there's different types of home inspections. There's the contract home inspection, where you go under contract and then you do your home inspection. There's the pre-offer home inspection, where you do one before you put an offer in. And there's different types of those. There's the negotiation home inspection, where you can negotiate repairs, money, or a combination of both. There's the void-only home inspection, where you just take the house as is, or you void the contract. And then there's the informational purposes only home inspection, where we can't do anything about the results. We have to proceed with the sale. So it's important to know what sort of inspection we have, right? And Gary always puts it in the contract, assuming that the market conditions allow us to have a negotiation inspection. Back when the interest rates were really high, there weren't many houses on the market, so the competitive houses had a lot of offers on them. Some houses didn't have any offers, while other houses had a lot of offers. And so those houses had a lot of offers on them because people like them. And so during that time, we couldn't do a negotiation or even a home inspection at all. It had to be a pre-offer, usually 30-minute walkthrough home inspection, right? So it's still in the 30 minutes, we can get a lot done and give you a very good idea of the house. Okay? So there's the pre-offer inspection and the contract inspection. The void-only inspection, the informational purposes only inspection, and the negotiation inspection. In the negotiation inspection, you can ask for money, repairs, a combination of both. You can ask them to repair things. You can ask yourself to repair things and have them reimburse you. And Gary will help you with that. You can mix it up any sort of way you want. And so differences between an appraisal and inspection, there's so many terms, right? Title, survey, appraisal, inspection. Inspection is obviously the inspection. Appraisal is another contractor, another professional who comes in and gives you the market value of the property. The survey is determining the land boundaries, and the title is ownership. So let's move on. Home inspection includes the major defects, the needed repairs and replacements, health and safety issues, structural issues, monetary issues. So, if you have a family, right? Obviously you care about them, you love them very much, and you want to make sure they're safe. And obviously we want to make sure our investments are safe too. So they're very important to get a home inspection, and Gary always recommends one, which is why I'm here today, because we want to look out for you. We want to work for you, We want to work for you. So when it comes to the price, it's not cheap, right? It costs money to get good service. So that's the way it is. Seller disclosure. So when you're buying a house or you're putting an offer in on a house, you receive what's called the disclosure or disclaimer. Obviously, disclaimer means they don't know anything about the house. And usually that's what we get. 9 out of 10 times we get a disclaimer saying we don't know anything. And sometimes we'll get a disclosure, right? But don't count on that to be your only source. And that's why it's here. Still need a home inspection, even if there's a disclosure about something, right? Seller does not report problems they are unaware of. Yeah, and they don't really report problems they're aware of, to be honest with you. I mean, they could be aware of a lot of things, and that's why we hire an agent. That's why we have an inspector you know, to call out these red flags, to look out for us. Okay, so the inspector will evaluate the physical condition, identify repairs and replacements, and estimate useful life of major systems. Average cost is 350 to 500. And that's for a condo. Okay. Townhouse is about 450. If you want radon, it's another 200. Single family houses are about 750. Mold is 500. Radon is 250. And so, you're paying us for our experience. You're paying us for our expertise and working in your best interest. There's certain things we have to inspect, and certain things we don't. It's a lot easier for us to do the limit, the minimum, right? But we don't want to do the minimum. We want to work in your best interest. And so, when we're paid what we're supposed to be paid, we're happy to go above and beyond for you, right? So new construction, don't get distracted with newness, code inspections, or builder's 1 year warranty. So that's very true. New construction, usually they have all sorts of issues because these houses are put together fast and they got different contractors working on the house. So they oftentimes end up having the most amount of issues, especially when they're building houses at record paces, and they're offering low interest rates, and people are going to them, and they're busier than they've ever been because they're giving you a 5% start rate, right? And then now they're building, and they don't really care about how the house ends up being. And we've seen all sorts of issues with new construction. One of the biggest things with new construction is the houses aren't ready for inspection when it comes time for the inspection. We'd love to go in there and have a beautiful, wonderful, perfect, awesome house and just give you good news, you know. We just want to give you good news, but it's also good news to hear what's really going on with the house too, right? Um, and we don't just want to give you good news. We want us you can't survive I can't survive in the business by not being honest with you guys as a home inspector. Okay, let's just keep it real. I have to do my job. I have to be honest with you. I have to tell you what's going on. Okay. And yeah, that's how it is. And so we work in your best interest, you know. Um, it's good that Gary's retired. He's got time to look for houses, negotiate with the other realtor, negotiate the inspection issues, help you. You were talking about the HOA documents. Yeah, things like that, that move on to lawyers and stuff, he'll also help you with that kind of stuff as far as he can, right? I mean, he's got the time. He's the type of man to do that for you. And so we like to help each other out, right? Because we're here to work for you, to work for your best interest, and to look out for you because you're trusting us to do it for you, right? Okay. And should you be present? Yes, be present. We love it when you're there. Um, we show you all this stuff in the house. We can talk about the house. We go through the house, tell you what to look out for, tell you, answer questions, make jokes, whatever it is. We like to have a good time, right? We like it when you're there. It's a good time to take measurements and all the other stuff. Yeah, 2 hours at the minimum. So who is the home inspector? So when you're calling a home inspection company, right? So I'm the only inspector, and I don't have employees because really, I tried that, but it gotta be a certain kind of person to want to be an inspector and really work hard for your clients. And it's very hard to find people like that, right? That really live up to a certain standard of working for their clients. Call one of these big companies up, and they got brand new inspectors out of school, and they're paying them 14 bucks an hour. Okay, and they're charging you a lot more money than I would charge you for inspection, and they're not really doing a great job, to be honest with you. I mean, a lot of them use scare tactics, and so the inspector. You call a big company, you get a whole group, a whole pool of inspectors who they can choose and send to your house. Okay, you call me, you get me. 20 years in the business. I'm gonna look out for you. I'm gonna work. I'm gonna bend over backwards for you. Okay, I'm gonna go in the crawl space, go in the attic, work extra overtime for you. Okay, and so that's just who we are, what we do. And so when you're choosing an inspector, if there's a big company, you're not going to get like the owner, the one who started the company, who's got all the experience. You're going to get new people out of school. Okay? Yes, there are requirements. There's licensing. There's insurance, but the most important thing is experience. Okay? It's experience with what do we look like? For example, the pre-offer inspections. When we have a half hour, right, to look at these houses, just by going into the house, we know what to look for depending on the age, the type of house, and the features, right? Experience matters a lot. We follow a code of ethics, um, and you can test your inspector, right? You can ask them certain questions. Do you repair items that you inspect? The answer is no, but we don't. Otherwise, we'd be much richer. Yeah, you need a new roof. Hey, call me later. Right? Call me later. Please. We need a new roof. Okay. So so that's one good question is, or do you have any suggestions for people, for other contractors, for a roof? Do you have a roofer? Like, yeah, my best friend is an HVAC contractor and I want to send him business, but the answer is no. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to make recommendations. So that's, if your inspector says yes, let me give you a recommendation. That's no, we're not supposed to do that. We're taught not to make recommendations. Okay. Exam. All right. Experience is the most important thing. We learn a lot along the way. Um, our buyers, our clients help us a lot. You guys help us a lot. You give us knowledge. And through the years, we've gained so much knowledge over, what you guys have taught us. So we learn a lot in the span of, however many years. The more the more we learn. Just like anything, we're always learning stuff, and we intend to work in your best interest. And if we don't know something, the answer is I don't know, but I will soon find out. And we will soon find out for you, and we will be awesome at it, and you guys will be happy. Hopefully, I'm sure you will. So, um, yes, we hold designations. Okay, so what does the inspection cover? It covers the plumbing, the electrical, the heating and air conditioning, the structure, the appliances, and basically hundreds of items in between. So electrical, plumbing, heating and air conditioning, structure, appliances, and a bunch of items in between. See what happened. Oh, sorry, I think I just. We good? Okay. So how long um, has the inspector been in business, and how many has the inspector completed? That's a great question. For me, it's 5,000 inspections, and I've been doing it since 2005. Um, I enjoy my job. I love it. I get to meet great people like you guys. I get to work in your best interest. I get paid. I work 3 hours, and I go home. Right? It's wonderful. Me personally, I love my job. I love working in your best interest. And so that's, it's a nice thing. So we got a nice thing going. Are you specifically experienced in residential inspections? The answer is usually yes. Number four, the most important one, do you offer repairs or, you know, improvements? You can say that straight up and people are going to tell you no, but you can say, hey, look, just tell me on the side. I won't tell nobody. It's supposed to be no, right? I'm sorry, we're not allowed to, okay. How long will the inspection take? Well, hey, Right? We like to spend time. We'll go through the house with you. However many questions you have, we'll answer them. We're happy to answer them for you guys. However long it takes, usually 2 to 3 hours. The longest inspection I ever had was 5.5 hours because, oh, geez, that was okay. How much will it cost? Um, it depends on, for me, distance, right? Size of the house, whether it's vacant or not. Okay. If it's far away, traffic is pretty rough out there, right? So if it's vacant, it makes it a lot easier. If it's occupied and there's stuff in the way, it becomes a lot more difficult for us. I mean, yeah, I could take pictures and say, oh, this was blocked, I couldn't see this, I couldn't see that. But you're buying a house and you're counting on me, you're depending on me. So I'm gonna, bend over backwards for you and go the extra mile, just as Gary does, to work in your best interest. And that's what we're here to do. And so it depends how much it costs. It's anywhere from 350 up. What type of report do you provide, and when will I receive it? You'll receive it within 24 hours, unless you say, "Hey, Joseph, can you give it to me today?" And if I'm able to, I'll say, I'm happy to give it to you today." Um, it's a checklist where it says inspected, not inspected, repair and replace, and it has a comment and a photo. So the comment will tell you what we found, the issue with it, our recommendations, and with photos and arrows to identify everything. Will I be able to attend the inspection? Please do. We want you guys there. We love it if you guys are there. We're gonna have, a good time. Do you maintain membership in an association? That's a great question, and the answer should be yes. Yes. Do you participate in continuing education? Yes. So these are questions that you call, and and I've been asked these questions a lot of times. Um, and so usually when you're buying a house, right, it's nerve wracking because you're going in and you're like, oh, who are these people? They just want to make money, this and that. We want to work in your best interest. Okay, we want you guys to give us referrals. Okay, because the thing is that I don't get many referrals from realtors because I'm a tough inspector. Gary gives me referrals because I work for you guys, and he likes that. And there's not very many realtors that appreciate an inspector who actually works for you guys. You know. Okay, so understand the inspection report, all these things here. Okay, so the information provided, pest damage is not part of it. Now, with pests, wood destroying organisms, it's usually the seller's responsibility to pay for any repairs. Okay, unless it's being sold as is or foreclosure. If it's a regular resale, it's the seller's responsibility to pay for repairs of active termite infestation, or carpenter bees, or carpenter ants, or wood boring beetles. It's the seller's responsibility to pay for any remediation. So when it comes to finding, it's not part of the inspection. Um, so what we recommend you do is we recommend you go find somebody who owns their own company. They're going to be very willing to work for you because the money in pests is in the remediation. So they're going to be more prone to look so they can remediate, because the inspection is about $100. Remediation is where all the money is. So someone who owns their own business is going to be more prone to look to find stuff. Say, here you go. This is what we found. I'd be happy to remediate it for you. Say, okay, let me give this report to the seller, and then they got to fix it. They got to repair. They got to repair it according to the contract. So recommendation is to have someone who owns their own company, not a big company, because a lot of times people just come and kick some dirt around. That's not good. We don't like to see that. You know, we want someone taking care. Okay, moisture damage, yeah. Improperly wired electrical system, yeah, sure. All that stuff here is going to be in the report. Again, electrical system, plumbing system, heating and air conditioning, structure, appliances, and hundreds of items in between. Okay, we take everything into consideration, what year the house was built, because at different years, different things were happening. Um, Signs of repairs, signs of original items, signs of cover ups. Okay, appraisal and inspection. There you go. Appraisal is market value, so the lender will give you a loan. Inspection is really where a lot of the work takes place. Okay. Um, Now I'm not talking about me because when I go in there, I'm there for 2, 3 hours, right? Then I give you guys a report, and now it's between you and the realtor. And the realtors now is going to talk to you and talk to the other realtor, and they're going to negotiate items. Okay. Um, that's where a lot of the work comes into play, and a lot of the stress is involved. I tell you, I had a well, okay, it wasn't me. Okay, it was somebody else. All right, another inspector had a client that didn't have a realtor because he didn't want to pay commission. Well, I tell you, I mean, look, it almost seems like the government is trying to make it harder for us to buy houses, okay, by doing all these things, and they want a world full of renters, right? They don't want people to be homeowners. They make it difficult for home buyers to get into houses now. They raise the interest rates. They make you pay, agree to a commission beforehand. They make it difficult. And so my friend had a buyer who made it so difficult for him as an inspector, and he really needed a realtor. The realtor would have saved him $20,000 from all the things that could have been negotiated in the inspection, but he only had the seller's realtor to deal with. And those realtors, they work for their clients, and that means that they're going to get the most amount of money for their clients. And as a buyer, it's easy to just fall into the trap of, okay, we're going to do this, but we're going to do that, and this and that. And I'm sure you're smarter than that, but yeah, we're here to work for you. We're here to save you money. Okay. Home inspection effect on negotiations, fix the problem, provide money for the repair, reduced asking price. Okay. Taking care of your home. As these are things we talk about during the inspection. Um, you get put on an email list, of course, another email list you get put on. And, like now it's fall maintenance tips. So get to know your home, where the shutoffs are. Some houses can flood easily if the power goes out. These are things we need to know. Um, okay. Any questions for me before I go? Yes, ma'am. Yes, some condos actually don't have main water shutoffs. And so these, you know, sometimes they don't have any shutoffs for like the tub. They're in the common area, so there's a leak. It's a big problem. And we were doing one of those together. I think maybe even two. I think two. Yes, two. Wasn't it two? Yeah. Where um, the shutoffs they weren't there in the condo, and so it's very important that we find out because if there's a leak and then the on-site maintenance person is not there, then there's a flood, and it's a big problem. So between the inspection and finding out what's going on with the house, these are important things. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So a lot of condos, they don't have the shutoffs for the tubs. I see a lot of times, and also the washers. The shutoff for the clothes washer is so hard to reach. It's back there, and there's no main shutoff. So newer condos now will have a shutoff outside the unit in the hallway. But older condos, you have to go into the maintenance room and find those. And your neighbor knocking on the door, hey, you're flooding my apartment. Oh my God. Yeah, there's all sorts, of different things that we see. Older houses have their charm. right? And like here in this area, wow, they're really building a lot of new stuff here. I actually grew up at Wildwood Park in Columbia Pike, like a mile and a half from here. Wildwood Park, yeah, yeah. The first Giant Gourmet was there. Giant, I don't know. That's what my mom called it, Giant Gourmet, right? Big giant store. So, so these are older, and they're having newer units here. So we got units built in the '60s and '70s, and then newer units here. So yeah, we usually find them in older, but sometimes we find them in newer too. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's a great question. Realtors will help. Gary was talking about going under contract and then getting the inspection done. If the market gets so competitive, then he'll call me. He says, "Joe, do you have an hour or half hour, or can you go undercover? Don't even bring your flashlight." You know, so it really depends on the market. Yeah, and everyone that I've done for Gary has been a negotiation contract. We've negotiated a bunch of stuff. Yeah. Anybody else? This is an important part of the inspection. It's an important part of the process. And yeah, so please let me refer you to my website, vahominspect.com. You can find a lot of answers to your questions there. And I'm going to leave my business card here if you'd like to call me. Should you, a home buyer, attend the home inspection? Or is it optional? It's never optional. Never optional. Should you send a family member? Yes, mandatory. That you, the home buyer, attend the home inspection. Can you bring a family member? Oh yes, ma'am. Absolutely. A good. As long as they don't think they're buying the house. Right. A good trusted family member, absolutely. If you can't be there because you're working, Gary really wants you to be there, right? Obviously, if you're working, if you're stuck in the Pentagon, right, and you can't get out, right? Yeah, bring a family member, trusted family member. We'll tell them everything. They'll understand everything. If you have any questions, call, text. you know um, we're always here for you. Well, all right, guys, thank you so much. Thank you.